What's up guys, Sal here. So Apple has been increasingly facing complaints about the amount of power they now wield, specifically on the App Store on iPhones and iPads. There's no question that Apple has complete and total control over the distribution of iOS apps. All apps have to go through the App Store and they all have to comply with Apple's rules in order to get onto Apple's hardware platforms. And Apple maintaining this control constitutes an illegal monopoly according to regulators in the EU, UK, Australia, and the United States. Apple is currently facing a class action lawsuit in many countries. Apple is being accused of using its so-called monopoly power to price apps higher than it normally might cost. And on top of that, Apple takes a 30% cut from developers from many in-app payments if you cross a certain threshold. Plus, one and only place to distribute iOS apps is through Apple's App Store. If Apple rejects an app, they have nowhere else to go. If their app isn't being discovered in the App Store, there's no store they can hope to get a promotion in. Android, for example, allows other app stores such as Galaxy Store, Amazon Store, and more. But there's no such thing on iOS, so clearly Apple has a monopoly on iOS. But Apple doesn't think their App Store is the most dominant app marketplace on iOS. They've responded to the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission and said they don't have a monopoly on iOS because the web browser acts as an alternative to the App Store.
What the
In other words, Apple says that iOS users have other alternatives when browsing for an app, such as using a website. So Apple is basically saying a properly developed app and a website are one and the same, and that's why developers shouldn't sue them, because if they don't like the App Store policy, then they can just direct their users to use a web browser to go to their website. Honestly, this is the dumbest statement they could come up with, and it's somewhat ironic since the entire reason for the creation of the App Store was that native apps give a far superior experience to websites or web apps. How could Apple compare these two and say they are one and the same is just beyond me. That said, Apple taking a massive 30% cut from developers just to give them a platform is unfair in my opinion, although Apple has reduced it to 15% for any developer that earns less than $1 million in revenue per year. But big players like Epic Games, who earn in billions of dollars, will still have to give 30% of their revenue, and that's a huge amount. It should either be 15% flat for everyone or allow other app stores on iOS the way Google does on Android. Or other alternative developers are asking is to allow an alternative monetization option. For instance, Apple forces any and all app monetization to go through them. If you try to tell your customer to go to your website or any other place for your app monetization, then Apple straight up rejects your app. Just like they did with Epic with Fortnite, Google and Microsoft don't force their developers to use them for app monetization. You can even point to your own website for your app monetization. Developers are saying that Apple should also do that as well. Anyway, let me know what you think about this down in the comments. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out.